Listener discretion is advised. The RPGeek Podcast is made by friends with varying opinions, political, and religious beliefs. Nothing we say should be taken as an attack on anyone or anything in particular. In addition, we like to say naughty words and make jokes that may come off as offensive to some people. Please enjoy.
What did I do for the last one?
I don't know, but the only words that popped into my head because Norman Reedus popped up on my screen was Norman Fetus.
You know what? We're just going to use that as the opening. We are looking for games that are coming out in June. May was good.
May was good.
May was good.
I think the pinnacle of May was probably Dark Ages.
Yes. And while, a lot of people are saying that it's not as good as, say, 2016 or Eternal, it's still Doom, which is all people asked for.
Doom.
Really. Yeah, just Doom. We're using a Game Rant article so we can keep track of everything. And like Ryan said, Norman Reedus is front and center looking Norman Reedus-y. I honestly, what would you call that face? Like,
I don't even know.
It's not quite a smirk.
It's like a euphoria face.
He looks like, you know what that face is? That's you just got out of the car after a very long car ride and you've made it to the bathroom and you can finally pee.
Yeah.
After being stuck in traffic.
Yeah.
That is I will put this face up on the screen for those of you watching on YouTube.
And also, just real quick, for the sake of it, this is a Game Rant article that we're going to use.
Yes.
We will put that in the description, and it is by Grayson Morales.
All right.
Sorry if I mispronounced your name, but this is the article, and it's just basically a calendar of all the games that are coming out, and we will cover June today.
Yeah, we're specifically going through June today. Real quick, real informal kind of thing. Let's start off with, the start of the list. Mario Kart World for the Switch 2 is coming out June 5th, and this one is a point of contention for everybody, I think. Controversy aside, this game looks fantastic. The 24-player races, the Need for Speed / Forza Horizon style open world is a really cool thing. It's more Mario Kart. That's very exciting. Unfortunately, it's going to be out on a system that is going to be very difficult to find, and it costs $1 billion. After that is Rune Factory Guardians of Azuma.
I'm actually just looking at the artwork for that now. It's actually really nice.
Have you ever played any of the Rune Factory games?
I have not.
So it's very Harvest Moon, Stardew Valley, just a bit more fantasy. And
Gotcha.
Guardians of Azuma has just a very Japanese
I'm
style
seeing that.
to it.
I'm seeing that. And
versus the other Rune Factories kind of had that more Western.
Gotcha.
I mean, it's still
vibe. Yeah.
Very, very Germanic.
Yeah. Oh, it looks really pretty.
I love the Rune Factory games. They are a lot of fun. Rune Factory 5 is an absolute blast on Steam. Deltarune chapters 3 and 4. I haven't played Deltarune, but chapters 3 and 4 I think finish the game. I know the first 2 chapters were free for the longest time.
No, that has something to do with Undertale, right?
It's a alternate reality. I thought it was a sequel when I first heard about it, but apparently it's an alternate reality.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's officially coming out June 5th alongside Sonic X Shadow Generations for the Switch 2. The Switch 2 is just going to have a whole bunch of stuff because I think it launches on the 5th. And so...
does it or did it already launch? Because I know there was some people with the pre-orders that were able to get it, right?
I'm sure that it fell off a truck, but no, it's... The system itself, I think, officially launches on the 5th.
Gotcha.
And so you're going to have Mario Kart World, you're going to have Rune Factory, you're going to have Deltarune, you're going to have Sonic Generations, Civilization 7, the Switch 2 edition's coming out, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom Switch 2 editions are coming out, Split Fiction, which was another game, there was that other co-op split screen game.
Gotcha.
Which I actually really want to play. That looks really good. I was confused about it, or not confused. It's not the right word. I wasn't sure about it when I first saw it, because I wasn't sure if they could do it right a third time.
Oh, okay.
You know, because I think it's actually by the same people who made It Takes Two.
Oh, all right.
It looked really fun. Yakuza 0 Director's Cut is coming to the Switch 2, which, how much more stuff can you pack into Yakuza 0? I don't know. I'm not sure why it's a Director's Cut, but cool. The Hitman series is coming to Switch 2, and one that I'm actually very excited for, Bravely Default Flying Fairy HD Remaster, is coming to Switch 2. That's a extremely long title, but Bravely Default is just such a great callback to the OG Final Fantasies.
Gotcha.
The only thing I'm concerned about with it is because I don't remember seeing anything about it being both Bravely Default and Bravely Second. So if it's only half of the story, that would kind of suck.
Gotcha.
Street Fighter 6 is another Switch 2 one. Hogwarts Legacy is coming to Switch 2. Did you ever play Hogwarts Legacy?
I haven't yet. No. I've heard really good things about it.
It was very, I mean, aside from the weird smear campaigns and all that other nonsense that we've come to know and love, Hogwarts Legacy was a very fun open world game.
Okay.
And unfortunately, I wish that they were able to do everything that they wanted to when they were developing the game. Originally, it was supposed to have like a morality system. So like if you did like the 3 curses, like the killing curse and all that, people would start to hate you.
I just want to be able to walk up to people and go,
what was that? I remember that in the book. Yeah, so that's coming out. A Cyberpunk Ultimate Edition's coming out for Switch 2, and the Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour. Those are all June 5th. That was like 15 games.
Yeah.
All on June 5th.
So it's safe to say that Switch 2 is probably going to dominate June, Probably will.
Yeah, for the 5 people who could have one, sure. The next one, June 6th is Dragon is Dead. I've never heard of this game before, and I'm trying to. It looks like a Metroidvania style game.
Gotcha.
It looks pretty sick. I'm really into those side-scrolling kind of deals.
Gotcha.
Mind's Eye on June 10th. This one, I don't know. You're a former soldier with a mysterious neural implant who's suffering from memory loss and flashbacks. You go on a series of dangerous covert missions to unlock the series of your past in a world filled with the threat of AI, and it sounds like they just took every sci-fi thing or they just took everything that could possibly be sci-fi and high octane action and just kind of threw it together. Maybe it'll be good. I don't know. This is the first I've heard of this one.
Gotcha.
One that's coming out the same day that I am actually super excited for, because I watched somebody play it, was Dune Awakening. Did you watch the new Dune movies?
No, I actually want to sit down and actually watch the Dune movies, but I haven't sat down. I know the wife has watched the Dune movies. She says they're great.
They are. The first one, at least. I haven't seen the second one. The first one was very good.
Gotcha.
Have you ever read the book? Do you know anything?
I have read one of the books.
Okay.
It was the first one. And like the very dystopian kind of system.
The sandworms. And
the sandworms. And
all that fun stuff.
Their oxygen masks, essentially.
Yeah. Drinking their own pee. All that fun stuff. Yeah, the people who made Conan Exiles made a Dune game, and it's less Conan Exiles, like crafting survival kind of thing, and it's more RPG, but it's still like the Conan Exile. It's still like the crafting survival type of thing, but it feels like there's actual like dungeons and NPCs throughout the game, and quests for you to go on, and there's a whole ass story. There's a lot to it. Unfortunately I didn't get a chance to play the demo when it came out. That was when I found out about it, was right after the demo ended. But when I watched somebody play it, I'm like, oh, this looks sick, dude. And just seeing the sandworm off into the distance, just coming up out of the friggin' ground.
The Alaskan bullworm.
Yeah.
The first time I saw the trailer, and I think it was for the second Dune movie, and you see the big worm come out, that was the first thing that popped into my mind, and I was like, I'm a child. SpongeBob
has ruined an entire generation, at least one generation.
Yeah.
In some ways it ruined them, in some ways it made it better. I'm gonna take this last one here, because this is a game that I own literally right next to me, but it's coming out for PC. Stellar Blade is June 11th. The one thing that does suck is it comes with Denuvo on it.
Oh.
And it's like, why? Why are you, like, because you've decided to ship it with Denuvo, it now can't run in over, I think it was like 120 countries or something like that.
Oh, jeez.
Like, what's wrong with you? They're like, well, you won't need a PSN ID to play the game. Great, fine.
You're releasing it for PC anyway.
You're releasing it for PC, but like, fucking, it's just, why are you? Nobody likes Denuvo. It's not good software. It makes your game run worse. And the fact that they're like, it runs better with it. No, it doesn't. Don't lie to me. We have years of experience knowing it doesn't. So that does kind of suck, but I mean, I'm gonna buy it.
Yeah.
I Stellar Blade, super cool game, and the possibility of mods makes that so much better.
Now, the next game I actually do have some knowledge of. I'm actually very excited for this game. It's called The Altars. Are you familiar with it at all?
No, I've never heard of this one.
So it is another sci-fi crafting survival game, but it's a singular lone survivor that lands on a planet.
Okay.
And he has to create a civilization by cloning himself.
That's a neat concept.
So, but he's creating this civilization by cloning himself, but all of his altars have different personalities.
Okay.
And it's actually like an RPG. There's a storyline behind it, like how all these altars are almost like not rising against, but what's interesting is you have this. Are you familiar with like the Fallout like Vault game and like all the other games where you're working underground?
Yeah.
So you almost build that kind of thing. You can look at it and micromanage it from like that face value, or you can actually go down in between all of the rooms. Cool. You have like different like certain expectations you have to meet in like kind of like a colony where you have like happiness and like certain levels and certain things you got to think of. But you are essentially colonizing a planet by using this new technology that you survived with to clone yourself.
It's weird.
And you can create automation out of it. You can do all these different things out of it. It's almost like Satisfactory meets like Planet Crafter, except all of the things around you can create multiple NPCs, but they're all you.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Now, how good is it? Like perfect clones where it's always the same guy?
It's always the same guy. Almost
is there like slight variations?
It's like the Clone Wars where it's all the same guy, but they have different personalities. So they start to change over time. Different haircuts, different types of things that they wear. Like all these different types of like personalities start coming out. You have like the ones that are going to rebel against you, or you have the ones that are, like there for you, but you all think the same way.
Interesting.
Because you're all the same person.
Okay.
And I don't know if you ever saw the movie Moon with Kevin Spacey.
No, I haven't.
But basically he was on the moon and he had this like AI with him that was kind of like running his colony, like his little space station that he had up there.
Yeah.
But what he didn't realize is essentially like something would happen to him and he would essentially like wake up from a bad dream or whatnot and it would start all over again. It was a very like Truman Show kind of thing.
Groundhog Day?
Kind of, yeah, like Groundhog Day. But it turns out, you find out kind of towards the end of it, spoilers, is that it was just remaking clones of him. Like this AI was actually just making him, like they had his DNA, they were just recloning him every time he died.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. So like, but he would wake up with the same memories that he died with. So it was like, it was seamless.
Interesting.
But then once he found out, like later on, like in like some room, that there was just a unconscious clone of him. That's when he was like, what?
That's crazy.
But so like this, the altars are all different alternates of you, but it's a survival crafting automation kind of game, but you're stuck in space and you have to kind of find your way out of it.
Interesting.
By colonizing it of all of yourself. It's in some ways not an original idea, sci-fi crafting survival. Fine.
Sure.
But the fact that they added this with the altars and the fact that it comes with an actual storyline is really interesting. And it almost becomes kind of like the Institution from like Fallout, where you have like the synths and that they're all kind of like come from people and but they're under your control kind of thing, and the weird experiments with it.
That's weird.
Yeah, it's actually really interesting.
All right, I'm definitely gonna have to check that out.
I think that's going to be a really, unfortunately, I don't think it'll get a lot of like launch like boost, kind of like No Man's Sky did and all those sci-fi games, but I do believe that it has the potential to be an incredible game.
I mean, from your description, it sounds really neat.
Yeah,
I gotta check that out. It sounds really cool.
The next game on the list, which
Yeah.
Another FNAF game, another Five Nights at Freddy's game. Don't get me wrong. I feel like the last two installments of the Five Nights at Freddy's game being very almost kind of adventurous rather than the traditional stuck in a security room. I think they could do good with it. They're always constantly expanding the lore. I'll give them that.
Yeah, I mean, look, Scott Cawthon needs money too.
But FNAF is just, I don't know. It's not for me. Like, it's for a lot of people, not for me.
Yeah.
This Gex trilogy, I'm not too familiar with.
Oh, you never played Gex?
I don't think I played Gex.
Oh, Gex was phenomenal.
Well, if you want to take this
so it's the Gex trilogy. It's coming out June 16th for everything.
It seems to include Gex, Gex Enter the Gecko, and Gex 3 Deep Cover Gecko Inn.
Yeah. So Gex was in the time where everybody needed a 3D platformer and a mascot.
Okay.
Gex was that. He was the quintessential 3D platformer. The whole premise of his character was he was a lizard. Or a gecko, that was addicted to television. And through reasons, he somehow gets sucked into the TV.
Okay.
And his whole shtick was every single level, every single thing was some sort of reference to popular TV at the time. So, one of the things is if you're going through a level and you'll hear him say, "This is like a luau at Mel Blanc's house," and it's like, what? Excuse me? Like, you go through, like, this is for people around our age and older, because as fun as it would be for younger kids, because it's just a platformer, kids aren't gonna get any of these references at all. I'm excited for it. I mean, I loved Gex. I thought it was great, but it's a stupid trilogy. Do you want to take the next one there?
Tron, as far as Tron Catalyst comes out June 17th, pretty much all platforms. I was never huge into the Tron games, to be honest. I like the world. I like the concept of it. I saw the first movie, but I mean, Tron for me is just like, I like the aspect of like the cyberpunky thing where it's very futuristic, very thing, but I don't know, it was just never a hook for me. I like sci-fi, the whole science fiction stuff, but I feel like that's almost like just too futuristic for me. Like, I could never really get into it.
Yeah, I could understand that. I mean, the whole fact that it takes place in a video game world is weird.
Yeah,
but Tron's neat. I don't know, I'm with you. I think none of the games have really been great. I mean, all people really care about from Tron, and people may disagree, but from what I've seen, all people care about is the light bikes.
Gotcha.
Where you're just riding on the motorcycle and you got the beam behind you and you're zigzagging around, you're cutting people off, they're smashing into the beam and dying, and like, gotcha. That to me, that's all Tron really is. Gotcha. That and Jeff Bridges.
The next game on here, the Lost in Random. I do know a little bit about this one. I've seen a little bit about this one. It's a roguelite. Okay. But it's like a D&D roguelite.
I think I've seen a little bit of this.
So like, it's a risk reward by rolling your dice kind of thing, but it is a roguelite. You do have like that tactical, like second to second combat where you have to make a defense response or a action response, but it in the shape of a roguelite, which is really interesting.
So it's like Hades with dice.
Kind of, yeah. And then, you have like your different, like, I think this one might have the squad members in it, but I know there's like different types of weapons, like unique weapons, and like your abilities are based off of like cards that you get.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it kind of takes a little element out of like every form of strategy style game that you would think of. So like card game, a D&D, a roguelite. Yeah. Like it kind of harnesses all those elements together.
Okay.
It's pretty neat. The artwork is really kind of cool. It's really just like
very purple.
The contrasts of colors. It's interesting. That's what I will say about it, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see actually some gameplay on that one. War Torn. War Torn is actually a game I'm a little excited about.
Okay.
I've seen this. I know it comes out, I think, June 17th?
The 17th,
Yeah.
Yep.
They're real-time battles. It is a roguelite, but it's a roguelite that plays, I don't know. This is a weird comparison to make. The artwork and the way it plays and the way it feels, the characters and everything like that, seems to be like very Fable-ish.
Okay.
But it plays like Diablo.
Okay.
So imagine like you took Diablo and put in the theme of Fable.
Is it like colorful like Fable?
It's colorful, but it also has those dark notes of like Fable 2 and everything like that. It's got some dark notes like Diablo.
Yeah.
It's technically a RTS. It's a roguelite, but it's also an RTS.
That's kind of weird.
Because when you're traveling around the map, you're essentially like this figure. and you're traveling around the map, but once you get to a location,
it switches to more like the
switches
Diablo,
more to a roguelike,
like the action. Okay, that's pretty neat.
It's interesting, but the characters are very like ditzy and very like kind of just like quirky, just very much like Fable. Also, some of the artwork in it is very reminiscent of like, why am I drawing a blank? What's the main city in Fable? Starts with an A.
Albion?
Yeah, Albion. So like Fable 3 Albion, where everything was very like contrasty and colorful, and you had flowers and plants, and everything was very pristine. Very much like that, but then you can go off into these dark lands and all that. It's a really interesting setup, but you have a crew of they're more, instead of more of humanoid, they're more like fantasy creatures instead of like actual humans.
Interesting.
Our next game on the list is FBC Firebreak.
I've never heard of this
very aware of this, so
yeah.
I will just be fair and read the description of what some of this says. This says FBC Firebreak is a cooperative first-person shooter set within a mysterious federal agency under the assault by otherworldly forces. As year-long siege on the agency's headquarters reaches boiling point, only Firebreak, the Bureau's most versatile unit, has the gear and guts to plunge into the building's strangest creases, restore order, and blast their way back from the brink.
Yeah, it seems like just kind of another wacky for like team-based first-person shooter.
Yeah,
almost like a Left 4 Dead, but
this is an interesting statement that I have never seen in most games, though. Join forces with friends or strangers to tackle each mission with a well-oiled crew. Survival in a 3-player cooperative FPS.
Yeah, it's almost like Destiny.
Yeah. I'm just 3-player cooperatives aren't. It's usually even numbers.
Yeah. Destiny kind of decided to change that, and we've gone with it ever since, I guess.
The next game, Date Everything. I'm not.
This is hilarious. You're unfamiliar with this one?
You can go ahead with this one.
So this game is a dating sim where you go around, and if you see it, you could date it. If you're in your house and you see, say, a vacuum,
oh my goodness,
you can date your vacuum. There's a piano that you could date. There's so much stuff, but as long as you could see it, it is something that you can date, and it looks ridiculous. Absolutely hilarious. You can date your fridge, you could date the piano. That just literally date everything. There's over 100 dateable characters, fully voice acted, branching narratives, and each dateable character has at least 3 endings. And if you're like me and you really like puns, it's a shitload of puns. The game is ridiculous. I really want this game. It looks stupid.
The next game on it is something that I'll probably get into because I play every simulator under the sun. Spray paint simulator.
Oh yeah.
I mean, if I can spray things, I can spray things. So it's kind of like the opposite of Power Wash Simulator, where I'm removing graffiti. I am now adding graffiti.
Yeah.
But you can also paint like cars and houses and bridges and stuff like that. It's a very basic, probably relaxing game where you sit there, you paint things, you move on to the next thing, you upgrade your equipment. There's not really a lot of explanation I need to give on that one.
Yeah, simulators are simulators.
Simulators are simulators. I mean, there's every simulator under the sun, and I'm all for it.
Yeah, I mean, look, I never thought that I wanted to be a blade of grass, but there was Grass Simulator.
And that one is actually particularly coming to the Switch. It is not coming to any other devices that it seems.
At least, yeah, it might already be out on other things.
That is true.
Or it's temporarily on the Switch only. I'm not sure. We'd have to look into that one a bit more.
The next one, Rematch, for us here on the west side, it is soccer. For our people across the pond, it is football.
Which, I'm going to make some enemies right now. So it was originally called soccer. It's called soccer.
All right. Well, this one is very kind of reminiscent of, what's that other one where you play as a car?
Oh, Rocket League.
I'm not going to say it's the same at all.
Mm-hmm.
I know in this one, I guess you could play in first person or third person, which is kind of neat. I always like to be able to switch between the two. But I guess you can do it in some like very contrasty, like there's a lot of contrast color, like in the color. It's very fantasy. You can play in like a forest or like a stadium or something like that. But not much to really be said on my part because I'm not huge into like sports games anymore. But it is, for anybody, it might suit their fancy, and it also might be a nice break from the EA, FIFA paywall kind of thing. So
look, if it's half as fun as Rocket League, it'll still be a blast.
Yeah. The next one. Do you want to take the next one?
Yeah, Ride Out Remastered. If for all of my fellow friends of Shin Megami Tensei or Persona or just RPGs in general, Ride Out Remastered, The Mystery of the Soulless Army is coming out for everything. Look, this was a fantastic game when it originally came out. It's your typical like demon creature collector kind of deal, very fun combo system, but as you go, you collect these demons like Jack Frost, Jack-o'-lantern, all the ones that you know from the Shin Megami Tensei series, and you can use those to help you out in the real world. It's really, really cool. It's coming out on June 19th, and I think that's definitely worth getting, especially if you've never played it before.
And I would have to say I've never played it before. So the next one, Star Overdrive, I looked at this one a little bit, and it reminds me of a lot of the modern sci-fi games that are coming out. Don't get me wrong, they're still good, but like you have games like I think it's the Outer Worlds.
Yeah,
the Outer Worlds, and then you have another, and not to be confused with Outer Wilds, even though Outer Wilds was a crazy good game. But you have games like the Outer Worlds, and you have games like Pacific Drive, and all these other ones. And Star Overdrive reminds me, if you took the Outer Worlds and mixed it with like Horizon Zero Dawn, it seems kind of like a baby of the two, at least in the sci-fi, the color, the sci-fi kind of adventure to it. I know Horizon was more of a like Nordic aspect, and that kind of vibe.
Graphically, it was much more realistic looking.
Yeah, but the Star Overdrive, I'm not really too sure upon much other than the game. I am judging a book by its cover right now, I will admit. But it's very reminiscent. I think it was the Outer Worlds was made by Obsidian. This one isn't. This one is made by Carousel Games. Although it looks a lot like it, even just like the cover art looks a lot like Outer Worlds, or a lot like Horizon Zero Dawn, looks like a lot like Pacific Drive, but it looks like you ride around on a hoverboard and or surfboard. I'm not really sure much more extent of that. I'm hoping it'll be another good sci-fi game.
From what I'm seeing is you ride around on a hoverboard, that you can fight bugs with some sort of ghost sword looking thing, and there's a giant sandworm. So it could be pretty good. It definitely takes a lot of inspiration from a bunch of different stuff.
Yeah, and for me, like, I gotta give it to him. It is an indie game, so I would like to, just shout out to the fact that, like, an indie game is kind of putting up with some of these bigger games coming out. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we'll keep our eye on it.
For me, though, personally, and this is when it comes to sci-fi games, if I had to choose a category over another, I prefer crafting survival sci-fi over, like, adventure sci-fi.
Yeah.
I do enjoy it more. I kind of gravitate towards more of, like, the how do I survive on the moon while I'm getting hit by a meteor, rather than that. But I do like a good story-driven game, so who knows?
The next one is kind of crazy from what I've seen. It's Bitcraft Online. It's a MMORPG. It's called a true single-world MMORPG. It looks, I like the graphics on this. It's very, like, simple, almost like cartoony look to it, but it almost, from what I'm seeing, it almost reminds me of like a more cartoony, like RuneScape kind of deal.
Yeah, it kind of looks like that.
But you're trying to survive. The whole thing is you're surviving, and it's, you gather resources, you fight predators, things like that. I don't know. It looks pretty neat. I'm not. I haven't
knocking it.
Yeah, I'm not knocking it. I think graphically this is one of the more interesting ones that's on the list. Okay. Out of the newer ones, like it has everything's in like these little hexagon tiles, and it looks really cool. I'm willing to give this one a more closer look when it comes out.
What about the next one? Because I know you have a love for the old school TMNT stuff.
Yes, I love Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and this one looks like it's based more off TMNT, the second round of everything. This is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Splintered Fate. It looks like a beat 'em up, like, which is, I think years ago we realized that beat 'em ups were the best way to do the Turtles games.
Oh yeah,
but
beat 'em
apparently
up and eat pizza.
But apparently, it's fast-paced roguelite action, where no two runs are the same. You get randomized power-ups. The rooms and bosses are different. You get me a beat-em-up turtle game that's co-op, and it's different every time. Yeah, man. I'm on board for that. That's simple. That's a good formula. I like it.
Well, and obviously I'm going to let you take the next one.
I'll take the next one as well. Persona 5 The Phantom X. This is a spin-off of the hit game Persona 5. This one comes out on June 26th for PC and mobile. You can actually wishlist it on Steam now. And this is just, it's more Persona. You're not part of the Phantom Thieves from Persona 5, but you are your own group. It's a Persona 5 adjacent story. It looks fine. It's a mobile game. So I'm sure that there's going to be some sort of gotcha, probably, give us $1 to make more rolls kind of thing. If you like Persona, you're probably going to like this.
Gotcha. Well, the next one is where we started in the beginning with Norman Fetus.
Yes.
Death Stranding 2 on the beach.
The beach.
Wow, on the beach. Now I can make deliveries next to an ocean. I don't know. Like, I never 100% finished the game.
Mm-hmm.
Because at some points, I don't know if you'll agree with me, it felt more like playing a movie than playing a game. But, and it had some really good content as far as like that, but like I couldn't make sense of it.
Nobody knows what's going on.
I love how the title is so simple. It's just on the beach. It's nothing like crazy. It's just, hey, you're on the beach.
If this didn't have the 2 indicating that it was a sequel, you would think that this was the Death Stranding version of Dead or Alive Extreme Volleyball. Yeah, it's a direct sequel.
Yeah.
And you are, once again, Sam, or Norman Reedus, and it's more weird stuff. Again, nobody will be able to tell you what is happening with this game. At one point from the trailers that we've seen, you're flying a ship, and there's a baby, and you are
you're on the moon.
You are inside a womb.
Yeah, you're Norman Fetus.
Yeah,
and then you're on the moon. You're in the dunes. This is not really on the beach like.
Yeah, out of everything that they have shown,
I don't think I've seen a beach.
There's almost no beach. Look, graphically, the game looks incredible.
It really does.
It looks super gorgeous, but it's just more weird.
Some people are in for it, so we'll see.
Yeah, look, it is what it is, man.
Do you want to take the next one?
So yeah, the next one is System Shock 2, the 25th anniversary remaster.
Seems to be coming out for everything.
So System Shock was awesome. This was kind of what inspired games like Deus Ex. This kind of helped inspire Deus Ex, and it's really good. I mean,
I have yet to actually play it. I've seen this game before, but I have not played it.
So they recently, I think it was a couple of years ago, or maybe last year, they re-released the original System Shock as like, an anniversary version, with slight graphical upgrades. So it was only at that point we kind of figured that they were going to do the second one as at some point. But man, System Shock 2 was really good. It looks very good on from the screenshots. And if you like first person shooter horror simulation RPGs, like it's a lot of fun.
It's almost in my eyes reminiscent to like Halo meets like Dead Space, just from like looking at it.
Kinda, it's a bit more cyberpunky.
Okay,
yeah, it's a bit more like Deus Ex.
Okay,
than that, but it is. I mean, like people are really gonna like people who haven't played it, you'd probably, if you get past the old-timey graphics, it'd be a good time.
And rounding off our list,
Tamagotchi Plaza.
Which just bring back my Tamagotchis, please.
Yeah. This one I talked about a while ago on my personal channel. This one, I can't tell if it's a Mario Party or an Animal Crossing or what it is, but there's a bunch of Tamagotchis in it, so, I mean,
it'd be cool, like, if you could integrate your old Tamagotchi, obviously.
Assuming you could keep it alive for more than 3 minutes.
But it'd be kind of neat if you had, like, the old Tamagotchis, or if they start re-releasing Tamagotchis that you could, like, buy and then put those characters into the game, that'd be kind of neat.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I've seen the little eggs. I keep saying Tamagotchi, but I recently realized that it's actually Tamagotchi because of the egg. Tamago is egg in Japanese, but
I'm from America.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I've said Tamagotchi for years.
Yeah,
decades even. It's really tough to change it.
So if you had to pick one game that you're excited for off of this June list, what would it be?
Out of all of these, man, if I had to pick just one, I still gotta go with Stellar Blade, man. Okay. As cool as Dune Awakening looks, as cool as Raidou coming out is, and what was the other one? The Altars. As cool as all those, I've been excited for the PC version of Stellar Blade since they announced the PC version of Stellar Blade.
Enough. If I had to pick mine, it's definitely going to be the Altars. It's new. I like original ideas. I like, especially when original ideas pan out, whether it's a show or a movie or a game. Like, this is taking an older idea and revamping it.
Yeah.
And I really hope it succeeds, because that would be really cool, especially if they can get like the storyline to mean something.
Yes.
That's where it's really going to stick for me. Cool. I like survival. But I have 101, sci-fi survival and crafting games. If they can make an actual storyline out of this, it'd be incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. And, at the end of the day, I hope it's got just fun gameplay. It sounds fun. So hopefully the gameplay is just as fun.
Yeah.
But
agreed.
That's June. This was a shorter one, as per usual. Well, I say as per usual, but it's only the second time we've done this.
But we'll be back for July's.
Yep.
For sure.
Yeah. We're going to keep doing this sort of thing. And thank you once again to Game Rant, because this is a very easy to look through list. So congrats.
Yeah, absolutely.
You made a good list.
Yeah.
All right. See you guys next time.
Goodbye.